Let's take a trip on my magic banana. It's a flavorful extravaganza over clouds, over trees, over seas, over space and time. Start at the tip and move towards the stem. Soon we'll be out in the solar system, seeing stars we never dreamed we would ever see. Let's take a trip on my magic banana. Are you Kate?
Sam?
The app says we're going to Helms Bakery in Culver City. Is that right?
You're the boss.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
How's your day going so far?
I'm so depressed.
Why? What happened?
I was born. Sorry, I know you're just making small talk, which I'm bad at.
Well, if you hate small talk, we also have long talk available, as the banana is not equipped with a radio due to copyright restrictions.
Aside from being born, I wish I'd never gone to art school.
Why's that?
I was a design major, and it just ruined the world for me.
How so?
I just left a party because the host had a popcorn ceiling, and I couldn't stop staring at it.
Why couldn't you stop staring at it?
Because it was so ugly. This was peak 1980s, uneven, pitted. Who thought this was a good idea popcorn? And once I noticed it, I couldn't unsee it. It was like mocking me, taunting me with its lumpy, chaotic texture. I tried to focus on the conversation, something about someone's baby's first steps, but all I could think was, why does this ceiling exist? And I know, it's a ceiling. Who looks at the ceiling? I'll tell you who. Me. I'm looking. Because it's there. And it's not just there, it's everywhere. Once you start noticing popcorn ceilings, you realize how much of this world is just bad decisions someone made decades ago that we're all still living with. You want to know why they're so ugly? Let me break it down for you. First off, they're lazy. Popcorn ceilings were a shortcut, plain and simple. Builders slapped that stuff on because it was cheaper and easier than making a smooth, clean ceiling. It covered imperfections, hid bad drywall work, and saved time. And sure, I get it. People want efficiency, but at what cost? At the cost of turning every room into a cave of visual noise? Second, they're oppressive. A popcorn ceiling isn't just a bad texture. It's an assault on your sense of space. Those little bumps and pits absorb the light, making everything feel darker, smaller, heavier. A popcorn ceiling doesn't just sit above you, it looms. It's like the room itself is pressing down on you, suffocating you with its bad taste. And the worst part? It's permanent. You can paint it, sure, but you can't unpopcorn a ceiling without a whole ordeal. Scraping it off is messy, toxic, and expensive. So now, we're all stuck with this legacy of bad design because someone in the 70s decided, hey, you know what ceilings need? Texture. I tried to tell myself it wasn't a big deal. It's just a party, I thought. Just have a drink, smile, relax. But every time I looked up, I got angrier. Angry at the builder. Angry at the homeowner for not scraping it off. Angry at society for allowing popcorn ceilings to happen in the first place. Angry at my friend's friend for having moved into the apartment just so they could someday invite me over to be assaulted by their ugly ceiling. I lasted maybe 30 minutes before I made up some excuse about an early morning and left. Because here's the thing, life is short. Too short to spend 1 second longer than necessary under a popcorn ceiling. I graduated SVA in 2006, and still now, every time I see one, I feel this deep, existential rage. It's not just ugly, it's a reminder of how much mediocrity we're willing to accept in the name of convenience. It's proof that bad design doesn't just stay in the past, it follows us, haunts us, and becomes part of our everyday lives.
Wow.
You ever notice how once you start learning something, you can't turn it off? Like, Someone explains how movies use lighting, and now you can't watch one without seeing the shadows and thinking, dramatic foreshadowing. Well, that's what getting a design education does to you, but for everything.
I had to stop eating Skittles for similar reasons.
It starts with typography. Before, letters were just letters. But once you learn about type, you see it everywhere. You can't not see it. Every menu, every billboard, every ad, it's like a personality test for whoever made it. Helvetica? It's calm, confident, but maybe trying a little too hard to seem neutral. Times New Roman? That's your traditionalist. It doesn't want to impress you. It wants you to know it's reliable. And then there's Papyrus, which is like showing up to a black tie event in cargo shorts. And spacing. Oh, the spacing. You'd think kerning wouldn't matter. But when you've been trained to see it, you notice how one bad gap between letters can make a word feel wrong. Fine dining turns into fine dining, and suddenly you're laughing at a sign that no one else even noticed. But it's not just type. It's everything. Once you understand design, the whole world looks like a layout waiting to be critiqued. A street corner isn't just a street corner anymore. It's a grid. You've got the bold red of a stop sign, the white crosswalk cutting through the asphalt, the green of a traffic light balancing the composition. And then there's the trash can, shoved off to the side like it's not part of the design, but still doing all the work. Even nature gets pulled into it. A tree isn't just a tree. It's a perfect exercise in balance and contrast. Look at the way the branches stretch out. Not too symmetrical, not too random. And don't even get me started on the flowers. Their symmetry is so precise, it's like they were designed in Illustrator, with some genius using the golden ratio as a template. But here's the thing. It's not all beauty. Learning design isn't just about appreciating what's good. It's about spotting what's broken. You start to see the world's clutter, the bad signs, the websites that scream at you like they're desperate for attention, the logos that try so hard to be clever, they end up unreadable. It's exhausting, honestly. I swear, I lose an IQ point every time I see people practicing graphic design without a license.
You need a license?
Not really, no. But ever since Instagram became a thing, there are all these people who claim to be graphic designers or offer graphic design courses that they simply made up without ever having picked up a book or taken a real design class. And then people who don't know any better follow them and make even uglier work. Once you see the world through a designer's eyes, nothing is random anymore. Everything is intentional. Someone chose that font, that color, that layout. Maybe they didn't choose well, but they chose. And even the bad choices become part of the story. What's funny is, most people don't even notice. They sit in a chair without thinking about the proportions or the balance. They walk past a poster without seeing how the colors clash. But once you've been trained to see it, it's like being let in on a secret. Suddenly, you're not just looking at the world, you're reading it. And it's not just objects, it's ideas. Design isn't just about making things pretty, it's about organizing information, creating meaning, solving problems. That's what people don't get. They think design is just decoration, but really, it's translation. It's how you take a mess of ideas and turn it into something people can actually understand. Not that anyone seems to understand anything anymore. Most of LA looks like the Santee Alley threw up all over a Sephora, and nobody seems to care. If anything, they're enthusiastic. You ever see someone take a selfie in front of a mural that's just like a bunch of random squiggles and think, do they even know what they're celebrating? No. They just see the colors, the hashtags, the chance to say, look at me, I'm part of this. Nobody stops to ask, does this work? Does this make sense? LA's got this way of slapping together a smoothie of design elements, mid-century modern here, brutalism there, sprinkle in some faux Spanish arches, and call it a day. It's all vibes and no substance. If you dare try to explain it, people look at you like you just spoke parcel tongue.
I actually had a passenger that spoke Mars recently.
And don't get me started on branding. Every new coffee shop looks like it was named by someone who spends too much time on that Fred website. Oh, we're called Gravel and Moss now. Our tagline is Earth in a Cup. It's like they're allergic to clarity. And yet, there's still something about it. Something I can't look away from. The chaos, the contradictions, the way the whole city feels like it's in a constant identity crisis. It's maddening, but it's also kind of beautiful in its own ridiculous way.
It seems like they are trying to build more modern apartment buildings with a cleaner look at least.
The ones where the bathrooms are against a central column and have no windows. The ones where people move in and overload the balconies with exercise equipment and other storage. The ones where people hang flags that say Michigan or Notre Dame on their windows with packing tape? Or have they built some in some imaginary neighborhood that I don't know about? The worst is when they knock down the dingbats and build these mega multi-unit houses and the tenants move in and are driving pickup trucks. Why don't you just open the front door, drop your pants, and take a dump on the living room floor while you're at it?
So, not a fan then?
I feel like I'm watching a city actively sabotage itself in real time. It's like someone took LA's already questionable taste and hit the randomize button. They replaced charm with cheapness, personality with prefab panels, and somehow it's all worse than what was there before.
Isn't that just the natural evolution of the city? I mean, Jane Jacobs was never calling for the preservation of Los Angeles in the first place.
It's not evolving, it's metastasizing. There's a difference. These buildings aren't part of the city, they're an invasion. They drop in like alien ships, don't even try to blend in, and then the people who move in, they act like they're pioneers because they discovered a taco truck that's been there since 2019. I'm not asking for Lou Kahn on every block, Sam. I'm asking for a little self-respect. You don't knock down a dingbat, flawed as it is, and replace it with something that looks like a corporate dorm and then call it progress. It's like trading a chipped coffee mug for a styrofoam cup. Sure, the mug wasn't perfect, but at least it had character.
And yet, here you are, still living in it.
Yeah, I guess I'm the sucker who keeps sticking around, hoping one day the city will stop breaking my heart.
Well, I hope Helms doesn't bother you as much as the party did. I'd appreciate a 5-star review in the app, please.
Will do. Thanks. Have a good one.